In a few minutes when we get to our sermon, we'll be in 2 Corinthians chapter 1. Let's take a moment for discipleship if we could. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. David writes those words in what we know as the 23rd Psalm. As a shepherd, David would have put oil on the head of his sheep to keep the pesky bugs away. But symbolically, David spoke of the oil as an instrument, if you will. It's an instrument of appointment, an instrument of commissioning that comes from God. The prophets and the priests were anointed with oil, and as he became king, David was also anointed with oil. It was a moment in time. It was a powerful moment. It was a significant marker of the magnitude of the appointment that was taking place. In that psalm, David says, my cup overflows. That speaks to God's abundance. It speaks to God's lavish amount of care. And that includes His provision and, yes, His protection. But we know that God would also comfort David during some great trials and times of hardship. And God would bring him through some great trials. And David would have such faith in God and such a rock-solid relationship with God that he loved God profoundly, even when he knew that God was correcting him in a very strong way. As a disciple, you've also been called to the Father. You've been called to embrace Him, to love Him, to worship Him, and yes, to represent Him. The road that you're on is not necessarily always going to be comfortable. But you will often experience God's comfort in the midst of uncomfortable situations. He loves you, He is with you, and He encourages you. So while it is true that we are soldiers marching out our assignment, don't forget to dance along the way. Dance with joy because you know that God is a God of grace and He sees and recognizes your faithfulness. And as a disciple of His Son, this brings Him great, great joy. Amen? Amen. Amen. Good morning. My name is David. I'm with True Light Church on the west side of Cincinnati. Thanks for finding our YouTube channel and joining us today. We really appreciate your feedback. A couple of you have sent in emails. We get prayer requests. We're a small church, but we're making a difference in the community. Today, I'd just like to talk to you for just a second about giving and stewardship. We know that stewardship covers a lot of territory, not only what we give, but also what we do with what's left. Jesus taught many times in the scriptures about money. In Matthew 25, the parable of the talents. In Mark chapter 12, Jesus talks about the heart attitude of the widow. So we know that Jesus has concerns about how we handle what He gives us. If our particular church, if our ministry is making a difference in your life, if you feel like you're being fed, I would ask, not under compulsion, but just under prayer, please consider supporting us. Thank you so much, and God bless.